Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Magical Witchy world. I am Star Ravenhawk.
And I am Rhonda Allen. Happy Friday. Happy Friday the 13th, everybody. We're a little late, but better than never.
Yes. And we have a wonderful guest with us here tonight. So let's welcome her to the show.
Yes.
It's a magical, witchy world. It's a magical, witchy world.
Welcome and welcome,
Hi,
Fiona
guys.
Horne.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
Joining us.
Yes, absolutely wonderful having you here tonight.
Thanks,
All right,
guys.
Rhonda, go ahead.
Well, I just mentioned that it's Friday the 13th. I just want to make certain, where are you, Fiona, right now?
I'm in Australia, and here yesterday was Friday the 13th. It's Saturday afternoon now.
Exactly. So seriously, thank you for taking and making the time to join us.
Yes, absolutely.
As we like to do with every show, we want to introduce you to everyone who's watching live or on playback, and we want to review your bio first. So let me read through your bio for everyone. Fiona Horne is widely recognized as one of the original pioneers of modern witchcraft and remains one of the few voices in the field to stay relevant, respected, and best-selling across 3 decades. A trailblazing public witch, Fiona has appeared as a popular radio and television personality on shows including Entertainment Tonight, Good News Week, Party in Australia, and Mad House. She first rose to fame as the frontwoman of the hit electro rock band Def FX before expanding her career internationally as a best-selling author, television producer, and speaker. Fiona is the author of 16 best-selling books, including Witch, A Personal Journey, The Art of Witch, and The Lost Book of Spells. And she is the creator of several oracle decks. Her newest book and companion oracle deck are titled Coven, Where Witches Gather, published by Rockpool Publishing, Simon & Schuster. Yes, I love the green on these. I can't tell you. In addition to her creative career, Fiona is a licensed commercial pilot who has dedicated much of her flying to humanitarian aid and animal rescue missions. Today, she leads transformative travel experiences to sacred sites around the world through her curated Meet Yourself journeys, guiding women through powerful locations that blend spiritual exploration, history, and personal transformation. Egypt, Bali, and this year, Transylvania, which is in her blood ancestry. Yes. All righty. And you can find Fiona on Insta at Captain Fifi. On Facebook, Fiona Horne Official, but her website, of course, and we'll be scrolling this later, FionaHorne.com. So thank you again for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you.
Yes. You're so welcome.
It's such a pleasure. We've been looking forward to this conversation with you. And one of the first questions we always ask everyone, because we've noticed that people kind of changed their personal title of what they call themselves, not what other people call themselves, but what you have called yourself. So that arc of when you first began your journey of what you called yourself and what you call yourself presently. So we'd love to hear that.
I still just identify as a witch and use that term.
Awesome. So
if I'm talking about my spiritual life, if I'm talking about my spiritual life, but I don't go around advertising it, obviously, other than when I'm on a book tour or something. But if when I was working in aviation, I didn't say, "Oh, I'm Fiona, I'm a witch, and I'm the captain of your aircraft." I just say, "Hi, I'm the captain. I'm the captain,
that does
Fiona."
Not go over well.
I didn't. Well, it wasn't too bad. My boss, when I was doing my Part 135 check ride to fly for this particular company, he said he'd seen something in the local paper, I think, and he said, "Oh, so yeah, I saw something that says you're a witch," and I said, yes, sir, I am." And he said, "Well, I don't care what you call yourself as long as you fly the aircraft safely." And I said, "Okay, sir." And that was, and I
There
got
you
the
go.
job, and I ended up being the most requested captain for that airline that I flew
That's
for.
so
So
awesome.
Fabulous.
I
yeah,
love his mindset. That's all that's needed because your
Exactly.
capabilities, and that's a fantastic attitude.
yeah,
So
it's
you
true.
will
The
not you
plane
will not
doesn't
be
know.
out
Exactly.
We used
there.
to say, we used to say that the plane doesn't know whether a man or a woman is flying it, and also the plane doesn't know whether a witch or a, I don't know, Christian, Jew is
Whatever.
flying
Yeah,
it. I'm
Yeah.
Jewish on my
exactly.
father's side, so Jewish is flying it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. You just operate the aircraft.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Precisely
I personally
so.
have always known you from years ago,
Yeah.
as just I've never heard you call yourself anything else. So
Mm.
I can attest to that.
So, on that note, let's go backwards in time a little bit and look at what brought you, or what was the thing, or what was the experience or the understanding you had to know that this is part of your path, that being a witch is a part of who you are and what you do. What brought you to that understanding?
Well, I think as I'm turning 60 this year, and I've identified as a witch, consciously since for over 40 years now, since I was a teenager. So, but even like I can look back, I've written about this in a couple of my books, but it feels even more accurate and innate now when I reflect. Is I think I was a witch before I had a term for it,
Mhm.
as a child growing up in the Australian bushland and feeling I had a very deep and co-creative, trusting relationship with nature. Mum would say to us kids, "Go out and play in the bush, kids, and come back in time for dinner." But back when I was growing up in the 60s and early 70s. And it was so beautiful and free. And we'd just go and play in the bush. And I had so many bush friends, like whether it was the red belly black snake that I knew was always would be on a particular rock warming up in the sun, or
Yeah.
if the trees were still, I'd say my very first spell, blow, wind, blow, make my feet and fingers glow. And I'd say it over and over again, jumping up and down, and then the trees would move. And I was absolutely convinced I'd made that happen. And if a feather fell from a bird,
Wow.
I picked it up and I'd carry it home and put it under my pillow. And, I used to always dream of flying, funnily enough, too, a
Mhm.
lot when I was growing up. Like I didn't have wings and I wasn't in an airplane, but I could fly.
Right. That's
And
so
so
incredible.
it's just these memories. And I think now as someone, 6 decades in this life's journey, in this body's journey, and going, I think I was a witch before I had a word for it. And then the word kind of came along through TV shows. Obviously, as a kid, I was
Yeah,
exposed to shows like Bewitched, and we all know about that.
yeah,
Right.
I used to always
Right.
think that why would Samantha let her husband push her around so much if he had if she had all this power? So I used to relate
Right.
to Endora and Sabrina more, but I was always curious about the idea that as a woman you could be you could be the first point of reference in your own life. You could
yeah,
you
Yes.
could determine. I think witchcraft has always been a path that has encouraged women to explore their independence and their empowerment. And of course, there's male witches, of course, and everything in between. However you identify, certainly these
Totally.
days, with the many different ways that identity is expressed now in the human form.
Mhm.
Um, but I just think that I just always have felt and found, and living as a witch all these years, that
mm,
it's a path of independence and empowerment. It's a
Oh,
path of unity and collaboration, and coming together. Certainly, that's what my latest book's about, Coven, where witches
right.
gather. But
yes.
and I think it's about. I think as well, what I'd offer is in the 80s, there was a big awakening to the New Age movement. And
Yeah.
that's where I first came across Spiral Dance by Starhawk. And I came
Mm.
across like Way of the Goddess by Lyra and Clark in the late 80s. And even Z Budapest, Dianic Witchcraft, Shakti Gawain, Creative Visualization. I mean, that was pretty
Wow.
magical too,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah,
I look
yeah.
Yeah.
back and I think of these,
Absolutely.
these seminal books that appeared in my life and that were really pivotal in how I was identifying as a witch, but I was still just working it out myself as a solitary. Certainly in Australia,
Yeah.
I'd go to
Yeah.
some pagan gatherings back in the early 90s, or mid 90s, that were amazing and formative. And at this book tour I'm on now in Australia, there was a lady there at one of the events last night who'd been to a Pagan Alliance event that I'd been at back in 1995, I think.
Wow.
So we in the witchy world in Australia, we were coming together slowly, but still, if you stuck your head out of the broom closet or up, and looked around and sort of tried to sort of connect with other people, it wasn't like today. It wasn't like we
Yeah.
could just do hashtag, you know,
Yes.
find another
Yeah.
witch, boom, there's one. It
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
very different.
It's
Absolutely.
it's easier for people
Absolutely.
today. Okay, so
Oh,
that's
so much
actually
easier.
I think you may have answered some of it, but one of the next questions we love to ask is from your point of view, not anyone else's point of view, but what does it mean to be a witch?
Well, I have a statement that I've been saying since I've spoken out publicly and publicly said I was a witch, which was in 1997 was the first time I publicly stated I identify as a witch. It was in Rolling Stone magazine, Australia.
Right
As the
on.
year the band broke up, they did a big article on us, and I decided I'd come out and say, yes, I know all my lyrics have been witchy all these years, but I'm actually identify as a witch. And the caption on the photo was Fiona Horne identifies as a witch who believes in positive and negative forces. I was like,
Oops.
oh, did I lose you guys? It looks like
Oh, there you
there's
are. You're
Okay,
back.
you
something.
came
We
Oh,
back.
lost you for a
something went off
second.
for a second. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. So yeah, so this interesting caption, Fiona Horne is a witch who believes in positive and negative forces, was like, that's interesting. But um, I think because we got cut off, then I lost the question for a second. Just remind me what that question was again.
It
It
was just
was,
what does it mean for as
what does it
for
mean?
you
Yeah.
to be a
So when
witch?
I
Yeah.
when I first came out and people were asking me, and I would say, well, which honors nature is sacred, recognizes the goddess as well as a god, and does, or many of them, and does spells and rituals to help and heal their own lives and others as is appropriate and indicated. And I still feel the same.
Yeah. Awesome.
I it's still the foundation of everything, and I don't practice it. I just am it.
Yes, that's
Yes.
So, and
awesome.
then I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Living,
the
breathing
impact
witch.
on,
There you go.
yeah, and I think the impact on my life has been, as I look at it and I go, okay, well, I mean, I can only say, like, I've been asked this many times over the last 30 years being in the public eye as a witch, that people say, what's your favorite spell? And I'll say my life. My life's a work of magic. I mean, and even more so now. Because I
That's
think as
awesome.
witches,
That's
I mean, there's a psychology to it, isn't there? There's like
Yeah.
we think a certain way, which impacts the way we behave.
mhm,
We like, I'll offer this as well. There's a parallel, I guess, with my career as a pilot
Hmm.
flying airplanes. We're taught in flight school that there's four invisible forces: lift, weight, thrust, and drag. Weight's gravity, but lift, weight, thrust, and drag. And if you understand those four forces
Yeah.
and
right.
how they work, they're invisible. They're totally just, you just got to believe in them. If
Mhm.
you understand them, then you can fly. You can fly an
Yeah.
airplane. That's how they fly: lift, weight, thrust, and drag. They're the four
That's it.
absolute essential forces. So as witches, we have invisible forces too, like whether it's
Right.
signs, gut feelings, you know, intuition, all these
Yes.
invisible forces, parallels,
Right.
serendipities, um, sacred geometry even. I mean, if we trusted that we're not looking at a design of it, it exists, you know. Um, and we trust those invisible forces, and we interact with them, and as such we experience a very magical kind of life. Like, we look at things a certain way because we're
Yes.
comfortable living with that paradox. We're comfortable with mystery. We're comfortable with what can be proven. Certainly as a
Hmm.
pilot, like, I had to be very, follow the rules. They're usually right. It's got to
Right.
show up, and it's got to be there after those four invisible forces.
Right.
um there was
That's
actually something funny. I remember once the pilot of Air Force Two, when I was working on St. Croix in aviation as a marketing manager, and I was saving up money to do all my flight training. And so I was working as a marketing manager to get my commercial ratings. I already had my private certificate. And
Right.
I remember meeting the chief pilot of Air Force Two, because at
Hmm.
the time Biden was the vice president, and his family had land on the island I lived on. So sometimes Air Force Two would land. And I remember him saying to me, "You know what makes these planes fly, Fiona?" And I went, "Oh, what is that?" His name was Jeff, I think, from memory. I said, "What is that, Jeff, Captain Jeff?" And he said, "PFM." And I said, "What's that?" And he goes, "Pure fucking magic."
There you
I said,
go.
I
And
said,
you were like,
"Believe it or
I can
not, I really
relate.
relate to that
Yeah,
because I'm actually a witch." And he's like, "Yeah, I saw something about it in the local
that
paper."
is awesome. That
I
is
haven't told anyone
awesome.
that before. You got the scoop. I've never told you that the captain of Air Force Two told me PFM, pure fucking magic. That's what our planes fly.
That is, I love that. I absolutely love it. Now, you've already branched into a topic that we really wanted to cover also, which is how you incorporate this, being a witch into your life. And you've explained it is your life. This is the
Mm,
grandest spell, if you will, that you have ever
mm,
worked, which is still working, obviously, which is
mm.
fabulous. Tell us more about, if you would, about how you are there any daily practices or things that you incorporate now that not necessarily, perhaps you do them without truly thinking about them, they're just such a big part of
Well,
your life.
there is a thinking about everything. It's the intention. I never light a candle
Mhm.
just because it smells nice. I never get in a bath just because I'm tired and I need some hot water. I mean, there's always some kind of relationship with the action that is esoteric in some way. I
Right.
never,
Right,
I mean, I'm
right.
conscious, I catch myself constantly making statements of intention or of magnification or manifestation, even,
That's
or releasing. I mean, it's nothing's random,
no,
nothing.
but
And
that's
even like some of the really practical things I've been very consciously, walking the talk of remembering to put my hand on my heart, hand on my belly, calm the vagus nerve, but also just connect with this vessel, this body that is, as a spiritual creature having a physical experience in this life. I'm in it,
Right. Right.
and in Fiona's life, and so connecting with this and just, I mean, our bodies are an incredible field of electromagnetic energy. I mean, they're portals, they're everything. So, um, and they're the vessels that we use to explore this physical realm. So, even that in of itself,
yeah.
having that kind of relationship with form and
and
is
and you
witchy.
you hit it on the head when you said it's not everything is done with intention, but you catch yourself doing things. And that's the thing. It's like you find yourself doing this, whatever the act is, because it is such a part of your life that others
Mm.
might think of it as just being, oh, that's something maybe not strange, but they may see that action of you placing the hand here and think, well, why is she doing that? But for you,
Well,
it's just, this is
but
what
it's all
this is
part
what
of
I
it. It's
do.
all, well, obviously it's my
Yeah.
heart chakra. It's, my pulse. I often use my heartbeat to empower a spell or place something against my chest and let my pulse ignite it or charge it up or, my
Yes.
heartbeat. It's all intention. And I think, um, I mean, yeah, nothing. And I mean, this is just because it's how I live. Nothing is random. Everything has a sense of meaning, and even when things are difficult and chaotic, I still don't think they're random.
Right.
Even in chaos, there is
Right.
design, there is purpose. Um, and I think that comes also along with living as a witch for as long as I have, and realizing that at this point, the power that we might, you know, maybe when we're younger and more involved in our egoic, needs as we establish boundaries and parameters of existence in this life we're in, and then, around you, I've talked about this in Art of Witch in my manifesto that came out in 2019, but our ego becomes like a destructive force at a point. It's not protecting you anymore, and it's not bringing you into the world. It's actually limiting you and starting to destruct. And if you get so absorbed with it, and that's when, for me, my witchcraft really flipped, and it was like, this isn't about how powerful I am to get things. It's
Right.
how much I'm empowered to give, how I can show up, be useful, be of service. And that's been certainly being sober in a program for 40 years, 14 years, sorry, where sobriety is very much embedded in my practice as a witch as well. It's about service, about being useful. I mean, I was thinking last night, I had a very long day, up really early doing a morning television show here in Australia. It's very mainstream and being discussing this, beautiful new book and the Oracle deck. And I'm on Channel Seven's morning show and being interviewed by the host, Larry and Sally, with so much respect and didn't even question that you're a witch and you They were like, "It's Fiona Horne. She's one of us, the world's renowned best-selling witches. She's been around for decades and she's got 17 books for
Oh my
Oracle decks.
gosh.
Da, 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 da." I mean, they were talking about it without question. There was no dismissing it. There was no going, well, she has to prove it that she's a witch.
Yeah.
No, it was
Right.
accepted and respected. And it was a
That's
long
really
day.
nice.
I had that
Yeah.
and it was beautiful to start the morning there. But the night before, I'd
Yes.
been at a book event with many people. It was a 2 hour drive to get there and then the back
Wow.
2 hour drive and then the TV
Yes.
show. And I'm driving myself. Another 2 hour drive to another event last night, picking up books from the warehouse and then doing this beautiful event with these ladies that went like 2.5 hours over. It was packed. It was full on. It was amazing. Then another two
Love.
hour drive back and then taking the hire car back this morning and then finding out our timeline was a little bit messed up in our schedule to talk. And
Okay.
through it all, I didn't go, oh my gosh, this is terrible and this is so hard to do. I was like, how lucky am I to be doing this and to be connecting with people and for people to want to show up, come
Yeah.
to these events. And they're not
Yes.
in the least. I had a hip replacement 3 months ago because this physical body got
Blessings.
quite unwell last year because I
Mhm.
wasn't taking care of it enough. Self
Right.
care is powerful magic, and witches need to
Yeah.
remember that too. It's all
Boy,
about
do we.
balance. And I was just thinking how lucky I am that even today, running to get to this interview, and I'm on a train and I'm bolting up the stairs to run out. Go, haven't got time to get a bus. Got to get an Uber. Run, run,
Oh
run, run,
my
run. And I
goodness.
was
Yes.
like, how amazing, that I'm well enough to do this, and I
Yes.
think what's the witchcraft in that? Someone asked me about that last night. Do you think your life as a witch helps you heal? And I thought, you know what? I'm a bit of a medical miracle. The thing I came down with last year, which I consider to be a spiritual malady that had me in a wheelchair and paralyzed in
Mm,
June and blah, blah, all the things. And then this emergency
mm.
hip replacement. And I thought, and now I'm recovering so quickly and so well. And certainly at an age where women are told we've reached our use by date, menopause, woohoo, and
Yes.
oh, it's all
Yeah.
Yep.
downhill from here. You're just going to
Yep.
grow old, get sick, and die expensively. I'm like, well, fuck that. Like, here I am. I got so sick at the age of 59 to get so well at the age of 60. Is it
Yes.
because I'm a witch? Well, I am a witch. So you can answer that question.
It-
Yeah. I love it.
I think it's got a lot to do with
Truth.
how we think and how we function and how the signs we believe in, the invisible forces we're comfortable coexisting with and how we interact with them. It's all
All
energy
part
and
of it.
it all happens.
yeah. Yeah. Rhonda, did you get to? I think that was your question. You finished, right?
Yes.
Rhonda. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, kind of tell us a little bit about what's become very important to you.
I think just right now, what's become important and what remains important is living life a day at a time and trusting the
Mm,
things that are put in front of me as being purposeful and useful and not trying to. I really, what's really important as well, I think, is just taking care of Fiona as well,
Yeah.
yes.
allowing her to enjoy this life, not second guessing choices, not just trusting that everything's okay and even the difficult things are okay, and trusting the things that show up and then the things that are taken away and then the things that come in. And I mean, I do a lot of animal rescue and I've lived in Egypt for most of the last few years. And that's brought with it interesting challenges of rescuing cats, dogs, and camels.
Wow.
And trusting that the journey of you can only help so many animals. I can't save them all. None of us can.
Right.
And
Right.
Yeah.
yet the ones we
You
make a
only do the
difference in
best
their
you can,
lives, you just do the best you can.
It-
And I just keep also holding space for the situation to improve and for humans and animals especially cohabitating in built up areas like cities like Cairo, that there is a way, there is a better way. And the government recently, over in Cairo, over in Egypt, started an animal catch neuter release program to try and bring the baladi, local animals as they're called, into some kind of healthier population, because it's
Right.
Beautiful.
very, very and because of Islam, and some people believe in the Quran, it says that you can't neuter an animal, take away its
Wow.
reproductive rights. But there was a fatwa issued in 2018 in Egypt that said it's the lesser of the evil. If overpopulation causes sickness and suffering in the animal, then it's the lesser of the evil to take away the reproductive rights, because ultimately
Right.
it provides a healthier life, more in line with Allah's gift of life. So,
Right on.
I mean, I'm even
Love
noticing
that.
having been in Egypt for a few years, noticing a massive difference in this last year of how um, Egyptians and the government are working to create loving, supportive, nurturing
Yes.
situations for animals, and that includes horses, camels, and all of it. So
Right, right.
it's amazing to see some positive changes happening. I like to focus on what's good and working in the world as
Right
much
on.
as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yes. As much as is
Yeah.
possible.
And
Mm.
sometimes it's hard to understand that you have to accept limitations on it and that you can only do the best you can. And like you said, you
Yeah.
can't save every one of them, but
Right.
you do try your best. And that's
Right.
Do the one you help the ones that you can. I mean, I have a Patreon community that if people join my Patreon, they can do it through my website really easily. Um, there's like the links there and everything, but 100% of that money goes towards the animal rescue work I do. So,
nice. That's
Oh,
and I've
really
got a
nice.
nice community of people there. I read the cards every Sunday and add in extra little tidbits and things. And I'm reading some of my books. So my autobiography, The Naked Witch, I've actually read that out because there's no audio versions of
wow.
my books. So in my
Right.
Patreon community, I read the book and I add extra stuff in. And same with Art of
Nice.
Witch, I'm reading that. And I do monthly spell offerings as well. And but yeah, 100% of that money, the subscription money, goes towards my
That's
animal
awesome.
rescue work.
That's
So
most
yeah.
awesome.
That is beautiful. Well,
Mm.
that kind of piggybacks, or I'm going to ask the question. Let me ask the question. When it comes to community work, I mean, you're literally working in the
I
community
know.
with the animal rescue. I mean, you're working with, I don't know whether it's with the government, but at least within the community.
More
Um,
independent, but noticing the government is starting to come on board, and all
Terrific.
of us, whether we're Egyptians or expats that have been working in animal rescue in Egypt for a while,
Yeah,
it's very gratifying to get some support
that
on
is
a
I
big
think when they,
fabulous.
scale,
What
on a
I,
really big scale.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
it.
I think when they
Exactly.
see
Mm.
people stepping up, it puts them to shame, and then they have to kind of go, okay, we may have to kind of also add in our little time here too, you know. So that's a
No,
good
that is
thing.
fabulous work. So, when it comes to community, what are the things? Tell us a little bit more about the work you're doing with community, with it, whether it's within the which community or with your animal
Well, I
rescue
think I
or what
really
have.
have to sort of throw to, and I'm going to hold it up again, but the new book, Coven Where Witches Gather. So
Yes,
this is
right
it's for
there.
witches,
I
witch
love that.
curious, and the magically minded. It's a beautiful book. The illustrations and
Yeah,
the
it is
Beautiful.
layout is
beautiful.
really, really beautiful. I'm very blessed. I've got amazing publishers. They're so generous, and
Yes.
the way they put all this together. And but I'm on this book tour in Australia right now, and it's incredible how
Yeah.
many people are coming. All the events, even like especially at mainstream bookstores like Demics,
Yeah.
which is like Borders, like
Wow.
massive mainstream bookstore sold out event happening next week, like in George Street, Sydney, which is like, that means people are coming into the city to
Yeah.
come to this book event and to talk about living a magical life together and supporting each other through community. And
That's
um,
awesome.
I just love that. Which curious, magically minded. I'm not
Mhm.
discriminating. It's like, and I find it really interesting. I was going to say this earlier, how we live as modern witches has become very much enmeshed with the wellness movement, particularly for women.
Yes.
The candles, the oils, the crystals, the ritual, the
Yeah.
ceremony, the moon phase is like you see it happening in
Absolutely.
this wellness space in
Yeah.
such a big way,
It's
especially those of us
huge.
who were kind of around in the 90s and how we were just
Oh
you
God.
know relegated to ridiculousness, or getting attacked from our own community or whatever. And it's like, I used to say, oh, I don't need Christians to burn me at the stake. My own community do it to me every day just by
You
writing
said it.
shit
You
about
said
me and
it.
horrible shit, and you're just like,
Yeah, yeah.
I
Which
mean,
is
I
kind
don't,
of
it doesn't, it's
sad,
just nothing.
That,
Well, it just, I don't even, I just do a big
yeah, yeah.
Bless
erasing
and
spell
release.
and just rub it out and it's gone. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't, I
yeah.
don't
That's
I
even let
kind of
it
do
bother
the I
me.
kind of do the talk to the hand
Yeah.
kind of a thing, and I walk away. I'm not
Yeah.
seeing this because you're not
And it doesn't,
happening.
and I don't get impacted by it. And I
I
mean,
right.
can't. I
it's, yeah,
can't.
it's just especially after all these years, so many years.
Yeah.
But what I love now is how the wellness space does embrace
Accept more of that.
our magical approach to life,
Yeah.
and a lot of people find it really enriching, and I don't think that's
Yeah.
diluting it. I mean,
Yeah.
we are occult. I mean, our deeper mysteries are always going to be that. They're going to be for the true seeker, and they're not just going to show up like that. But I
Right,
think
right.
the way we live in being accepted and celebrated, and the aspects of our what we find meaningful, and the symbols and the practices that we find enriching as witches, if others find that enriching too, it's only a good thing, because
Yeah,
it's all
Agree.
about
exactly.
and if it's encouraging people to have a more respectful and gentler interaction with nature,
Mhm.
um,
That's a
that's
good
only a
thing.
good thing
That's a
too.
positive.
Yeah, I don't care whether
Precisely
they're a
so.
witch or not. It's a good thing, you know. I mean, it's
Precisely
really amazing. I
so.
mean, again, I'm mentioning Egypt because it's like been there most of the last 3 years, and it's because I based myself there to be able to offer the Meet Yourself in Egypt women's journeys that I offer that you mentioned, Rhonda, in the
Fabulous.
bio.
Yes.
Because yeah, I mean, it was Sekhmet who came to me and said in a temple. It was actually in. It was a couple of places. She spoke to me the first time I was in Egypt a few years ago. I was a tourist,
Mm.
and she said, "You must know me." She screamed it out, "You must know me!" And she's like, it's in English, so I can understand her.
Wow.
Right.
Right.
And we're realizing it was her. And then she said in English, "Bring women here, teach them this, that they are not to demand anything of the gods and goddesses,
Right,
that we
right.
are to be venerated and worshipped, and we decide what
Mhm.
it is that you need. So show the women that, take them to these places and move
Yes.
here." And
That's
I did
awesome.
all those things in 2023. And now I'm up to
That's
my third
amazing.
year of offering Meet Yourself for Ladies. That I found that, you know, even in Egypt, talking about this, that even like there's in Dewan bookstore in Zamalek and in Madi, there's Oracle and Tarot decks. You know,
That's
in Cairo. It's
amazing.
just, it's brilliant. It's just,
It is
you know,
absolutely
so many
amazing.
people are fascinated by the accoutrement of our lives, you know, that we
And I
just take for granted.
Truth. And I do think, as you were saying, while we are being more fully embraced in the wellness community, I know there are folk who are not exactly happy with this because they see it as almost a sellout or a commercialization. And at the same time, I personally sit back and say, as you just did a little while ago, for the true seeker, for those who are really diving deep, the
Mm,
information is going to be there, but it
yeah,
does allow for conversation. It allows for
absolutely. I mean, look, at the end of the day,
destigmatization.
wouldn't
I
you say,
mean,
Rhonda, our whole lives are a commercialization sellout. Everything we
Yeah,
everything,
yeah,
consume, everything,
everything. Yes,
everything, whether you're
yes,
drinking alcohol or even buying,
yes,
getting certain types of weed prescribed, medical marijuana,
yes,
whatever. It's
yeah.
all
That's true. That
commercialized.
is
yes,
true.
I'm not gonna resist that. What's the point? What I'm gonna
Yeah,
try and do though is be selective. And
mhm,
I mean, for example, when we travel in Egypt, for example, I don't do any business with anyone that abuses animals. So we don't go to
mhm,
Edfu Temple because the only way to get there is with horses and carriages. They're not treated well. We don't go there. I mean,
right.
exercise the power of your consumer dollar, you know,
Yes,
right,
and be ethical and conscious as you
yes,
consume. But I exist there, you know, I consume, therefore I exist. That's just the pattern of human life. So
right, right.
um I don't think there's any point in saying, oh, it's a sellout or anything. You know, just
yeah,
what's the point of saying that? What is it? It doesn't achieve anything. What's the solution? Okay, if it's a sellout, what's the option? You know,
right.
I'd like to think when I have a lot of people coming to book events and things, and you have a conversation, as you said, Rhonda, it's like you have a
Right,
conversation.
Yes,
And that's what's so beautiful is you can have a conversation and people will maybe go home and think a bit differently, behave a bit differently, and it's that ripple effect.
right,
And I reckon, by
exactly,
whatever means necessary, if you
exactly.
can kind of grow more conscious, gentler, kinder humans, because they've been exposed to aspects of the craft that they find inspiring, uplifting, enriching, nourishing,
Yes,
then it's not a bad thing.
no,
You know,
it's
and
not.
and here's
it's
another
a
example
game.
of, you know, when, because I'm focusing on the positives, of course, but
Yes.
um there's a TV show. I don't know if it's going to happen. TV is very fickle, and I'm like, whatever,
Mhm,
it's dangling carrots, and you see what happens. But there was a TV show that approached me not that long ago to be a version of a host, kind of role in it as a mentor and a teacher. And there
Yes.
was an episode of it that had been filmed, and the kid on it was very much into chaos magic and very, very dark. And he was literally hell bent on proving that he could cut himself with knives and it wouldn't slice his skin, because he'd done this black magic as his literal
Wow.
language
Okay.
to
Right.
protect himself. He was putting handfuls of incense sticks in his mouth to extinguish them in his mouth, and saying he was not
Okay.
burned, because he took credit for someone dying because he cast a black spell. Like, and he used the B word, black, BM, black magic,
Right.
over and over. And and I was asked by the producers if I'd take this kid on, and, like, would he be someone I would have in my team.
Right. Right.
And of course I would, because I'd give him an opportunity to experience, like, how you might think that stuff is really, just pushes your buttons and gives you this intense sense of empowerment, but it's not sustainable. It's erratic. It's
Hmm.
usually the people I've met that are really caught up in that are tired, like they're exhausted, and they don't. It's got to a point where they don't even enjoy it
Right.
anymore.
Right.
And so when you flip it and you go, well, why don't you sort of consider that maybe it's a greater show of power to help and heal than it is to dismantle and destroy?
Right.
Have a crack at this. It's funny how it switches. So
Yeah.
I'm not just saying we all have to be. I remember once someone wrote about me. I don't know. They said something about I was like fluffy bunny magic or something. I was like,
Mhm.
great. I love
Those
bunnies.
terms, those
I mean,
terms, I'm always wondering
yeah,
where,
fluffy
say,
bunnies and
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah,
And I was like thinking, yeah, I like bunnies, but I'm also like, I think some of my biggest contemplative breakthroughs in the nature of existence and what's the purpose of it all, and blah 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 blah, have come from periods of great darkness, great sadness, great illness. I mean,
Right.
I was so ill last year that I was like, felt like I was in an Iron Maiden. I mean, the
Oh,
pain through my
wow.
body, and I was
Yes.
paralyzed like this. I couldn't close my jaw, couldn't lift my arms, and I'm in a wheelchair in June last year.
Mm,
and
that
and
is,
it's like, and it's nuts, and the pain was insane. Like, just it took 20 minutes to even try and move a sheet off my body, and the pain was
oh my
insane.
goodness.
It was
yeah,
so insane. But that's where I did some of my best, deepest, witchy, dark
right, right.
shadow work, in those places, in
Um,
those spaces, to come out of
that
it and go,
is
oh, now I'm even more equipped to, shine a light on a path.
right.
Right, right.
That is so true.
Yeah. I went through
Wow.
my
Wow.
stages of trying to assist people with certain things, and then I'm now in this
Mm,
stage of where I guess because I'm older now, I'm like
yeah.
you're too exhausting. If you can't come to
Mm,
you're whatever 40 or whatever it is, and you can't come to a realization about certain things, then I can't. It's
Get
too
there.
exhausting for me, and I just walk away until they
mm.
can come
And
to
it's okay.
themselves.
And it's
I
so
just
okay to
can't deal
do
with
that,
it.
isn't it? Yeah. We don't
Yeah.
Huh?
have to. I mean, why should we have to?
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
Like, who are
exhausting.
we who are
I
we having
can't
to
do it.
prove ourselves to? Who's a I remember, just some people still sometimes, even at an event just last week here in Australia, someone asked about how I deal with da 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 da, and I said I just don't tolerate it. I don't engage with
Yeah,
it.
I can't be
Yeah.
bothered. It's too
And it's
chaotic for me, and I walk
it's
away.
gone.
And
Mm,
I'm like, You're so entrenched in it that you're exhausted already from it, but yet you're wondering why I'm walking away because I need
mm,
my health. Your
Right.
health
yeah.
is a lot of things
Self
that happens in
care
our health as
is
we get
powerful
older is
magic.
based on
Yeah.
stress. And I'm not
Yeah.
doing that to myself. So I'm walking away
Exactly.
for my peace of mind and my health. It's as simple
That's
as that.
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So
Oh, we've
what would you
chatted for a
like to
long time.
see?
I just looked at the clock.
I know.
I
We've
know,
gone a
I
bit
know.
over. I hope that's all right,
Because you see,
guys.
we get into this whole talking and we don't realize the time.
I
Okay.
know. We're like, oops.
What would you like to see us as witches accomplish? That's
I think
hard.
that
I know.
we already are. I mean, I think what we're accomplishing is just this very conversation we're having. We're all comfortable in our identity. We're all
Yeah.
comfortable in and still excited and intrigued and creative and collaborative in our craft, and coming together and sharing that with others. And
Yeah.
you
Okay.
girls already have the show, and you have people on chatting about things. I mean, what do we need to accomplish? I think just living with conscious integrity. And I remember once breaking
Right.
down the witch word to wisdom, integrity, tenacity, courage, and honesty.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, that's what is a witch, you know.
There
Okay,
you
there you
go.
go.
I
I like
love
that.
that.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Tell us about projects you have coming up or things that you're thinking of doing. I mean, we know
Well,
you have the book
definitely,
out,
yeah,
and
I've got
so
my lovely
yes, tell
babies
us
out there in the
more.
world, Coven, and this is available in America and across the UK as well, and Australia and New Zealand.
Oh,
So I'm really grateful. I love my publishers, Rockpool Publishing, they're amazing. And look, they did this book last year that I also really love, Lost Book of Spells. That's my
oh,
Right.
book
I
from last year.
love the
So
binding and the
together,
cover.
together you can see how they kind of go together,
Yes.
Yeah.
and beautiful illustrations in
Mm,
Lost Book of Spells too. And this is like over 200 150 spells and rituals and approaches and advice for spell casting. In all the books I'd done, I'd not
beautiful.
actually put it all together in one book. So it's beautiful.
Now
But
they are in
so
one
I'm really
book.
grateful for that, and grateful for Coven Where Witches Gather. And then there is going to be a third book in January 2028. And so they will become like a trilogy.
Right.
That
So
Right.
that's
Nice.
is
that's planned. So there'll
fabulous.
be a third one sitting on top of this to make it 18 or 19 books. I've honestly lost count. I'm also really excited about the new nourishing spiritual adventure for women I'm offering this year, which is Meet Yourself in
Nice.
Transylvania. And
Yes.
Transylvania is happening because I've known I'm adopted for a long time. I've written about it in my autobiography, and I've known I'm Jewish on my father's side and Prussian German on my mother's side.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
but more recently, especially in this last year and a half, uh, done a lot of research on ancestral bloodlines. And so I'm
Right.
actually Transylvanian, and
Oh,
that's where my father, when Transylvania was a part of Hungary, my father, my grandmother, my great grandfather, great uncles that from the late 1800s to early 1900s, they were living in Transylvania. And my family, my great grandfather, Alfred Adler, and Leopold Adler, my great uncle, they were very renowned photographers. And so if you go to the museum in Brasov in Transylvania, there's a whole floor dedicated to my blood relatives,
Wow.
because they
Nice.
captured images of society and the times then in the late 1800s, when you had the big old,
wow.
you know, cameras on stands with the big slides. I mean, it was a very new art form, you know.
Yes.
But so I learned more about my witchy lineage there too. And so part of offering Meet Yourself in Transylvania is to explore some of the family bloodlines that I have and do activities, interactions to do with that. To
Yes.
explore the incredible healing energies of the earth there, like to drink out of the mineral springs there, to forest bathe in those beautiful Carpathian mountains. I mean, the folklore and the magic of that part of
Right.
the world is super powerful. And also getting to spend time with Michaela Minka and her family. They are very powerful, respected Roma
Yes.
witches. And they use the
Wow.
G word
Wow.
themselves sometimes. They'll say Roma gypsy, but they're
Mhm.
reclaiming the word. And,
Right.
Excellent.
and
Beautiful.
so they see
Beautiful.
it as a statement of empowerment. But we actually go to her house and spend time with her and her daughters
Yeah.
and her mother, and learn about creating Roma magic charms for health, wealth,
Right.
and love. And it's a
Uh,
really beautiful experience. We explore, the castles and the architecture, and we
yeah.
stay in Shwagashera, which is a walled city, like in hundreds of year old buildings, where Vlad the Impaler was born. He's the inspiration for Dracula. The
Right.
Right.
haunted
Right.
clock tower, we stay there. And we go to Bran Castle, which is it's kind of been popularized as the home of
Right.
Dracula. But
Right.
to be honest, there's a more interesting story to do with the divine feminine
Mm.
there, which I'd love to quickly share,
Ah,
which is Queen Marie of Scotland. She married the King of Romania, I don't know when it was, early 1900s, I think. She is a very powerful queen of the people, very
yes.
independent, strong woman in those early 1900s, before women could vote. She was standing firmly as a queen of the people, and she bought
Right.
Bran Castle and she decorated it to celebrate the divine feminine. So the interior decorations are just so lush and
Right.
so empowered
Wow.
and feminine. And she rebirthed the gardens because she's a little Scottish witch, I think. She used to wear peasant garb and tend to the gardens. Um, and her daughter Elona she encouraged her to be a ship navigator. So educated and sailing ships, navigating with the sextant and by the stars. I mean, these women were incredible. So when she bought Bran Castle, which now is so known as Dracula, the Dracula myth,
Yes.
folklore,
Right.
whatever story, but the real story is Queen Marie. So when she
Yeah.
died, um, she was had to be buried somewhere else because of her royal lineage. But she asked her daughter Ilona to remove her heart from her body,
Mm. Yes.
and inter it in a shrine in Bran Castle. So when we go to Bran Castle, yes, we'll explore all the fun, exotic, gothic glamour of Dracula there that's very
Yeah.
touristic, but we will also pay homage to the lesser known shrine of Queen Marie's heart that is there,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
and
That
and
sounds
honor a
wonderful.
great queen. And so, I mean, there's a lot of that exploring the feminine divine in all the offerings that I do, with whether it's
Yeah.
Egypt or Bali, or but I'm particularly excited about Transylvania this year. There's just a couple of places left. It's almost sold out, but if anyone's watching and would like to join, all the information is on my website,
That
Awesome. Awesome.
fionahorne.com.
Yeah. And
is
that kind of takes us into
fab.
this other part of the question too, which what events are you doing this year, which you pretty much mentioned. When is the Transylvania one?
In September. So
In September.
it's from the 10th of September to the 22nd of September. So it's 12 days, but there is a 3-day optional add-on where we go up into the Carpathian Mountains, and I've
Oh,
actually rented an entire retreat space. It's like chalets, beautiful pool, like a pool that you just look out over the mountains, and it'll be wildflower season. So there'll be tons of flowers,
oh.
wildflowers everywhere. And we're going to do a plant medicine and herbal magic workshops. And when I say plant medicine, it's not psychotropic ingestion of plants. It's
Mhm.
Right.
learning about the healing qualities of these particular flowers and how they were used by local healers, local
Right.
wise women. And we even make talismanic jewelry with the plants and the flowers, and eat local organic food, and just, it's just going to be beautiful. It's such as Romania is such an
Yeah.
amazing country. Transylvania is a massive part of it, is my
Yes.
blood, my lineage. And it's a great honor to share it with people. I have a wonderful travel agent based in Romania, is helping book it all in. What I do with my experiences, my expansions, as I call them, not retreats, because we're expanding, not retreating. But I work
Mhm.
with an agent that handles all the money, and but the trip is entirely curated and bespoke, a bespoke offering by me. It's not something where someone else has just put a trip together and I just plonk
Right.
myself on it. It's like I
No.
go everywhere first. I
Right.
curate it from the ground
Right.
up. It's
Right.
it's like even with Egypt. I've climbed Mount Sinai now twice. I'll do it again this year. I did it even last year when I was sick. But a couple of the camels I rescued, I rode one of them up the mountain. um, that
Oh,
captive babies are gorgeous. But yeah, I'll go there and I'll experience it, and then take my
Right.
yes.
ladies, and that's why we get to do things that aren't on in the tourist kind of
Right. Right.
offerings. I say
That
That's
people
was
beautiful.
a
aren't tourists; they're my guests. When they travel with me, they're my guests.
Right. Right.
If people think I live a magical life, I love sharing that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
with my
Yeah. So
ladies.
right. So is there anything planned for Egypt this year as well as the Transylvania, or
Egypt
just
is happening this year. It's sold out.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes there is a wait list. The I mean, the Egypt trip this year is going to be amazing. There's 5 privates, because I'll rent. It sounds crass, but I will rent the Great Pyramid, rent the Sphinx, rent the Siren in Abydos, rent the Temple of Philae, rent Temple of Hathor in Dendera, so that we
mm,
can go there alone.
amazing. Yeah,
Oh,
And
nice. Very
I have
nice.
really great relationships with the authorities there to be able to
to do
incorporate all
that.
that. And my
Yeah.
agent there
Yeah.
is great. So when we go to these places and offer ceremony, it's very culturally respectful, because the culture
Yeah.
now is predominantly Islamic. And so it's important to respect their custodianship currently of these
Mhm.
sacred sites. So what I offer is like what's written on the walls. So when we go to the Chapel of Isis at Temple of Philae, for example, we
Yes.
basically read what's in hieroglyphics on the walls, which is what the shamans and the priestesses said when these buildings were created. These
Yeah.
structures were built to venerate the gods and goddesses. So we just say what's on the walls. I don't get much more clever than that. And I
That's
mean, that in of itself is
beautiful.
super empowering. And then
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
Yes.
have their visions and their journeying, and sometimes if it's indicated and appropriate, I will offer um, other aspects of the ceremony. But I try to keep it very respectful and aligned with, which is what I was told by Sakmet, which she loves her names being spoken. She's
Yes.
143 names. So one of the ceremonies we do is reciting her names in English, groups of
Right.
us. We'll
Wow.
all
Right.
get 13
Very
names
nice.
each. 3 of us go in and we say the different 13 names at the same time. And it creates this insane,
Chanting energy.
beautiful,
Yeah.
yeah, this kind of otherworldly chant, the beat between the worlds. That, I mean, I
Yeah.
say insane because it's like, it's just in the intensity. It's the intensity of it. It's like,
Yes.
it's
Yes.
just beautiful. And
That
Sounds
is
wonderful.
it's honorable to, even though it's in English, but it's honorable to, and respectful,
a
Nice.
rose
to
by
do
That's
any
that.
awesome.
other name. We cannot thank you enough
Yeah,
for
yeah. That's
taking
Thanks,
the
so
guys. It's been a
beautiful.
really long chat, but
time.
hey,
It's been
It's all
great.
good.
We
It's all
have
good.
Star and I
so
always end up having a long chat if whenever
Yeah,
Fiona texts us or wherever. We always
it's
start
it's
bagging
fabulous. It's
yeah, yeah,
fabulous.
yeah.
Thanks,
So
guys.
But it's so
thank you,
nice.
thank you, thank you for taking the
I'll
time.
hold up
Yeah.
my babies again before
Yes,
we
Yes.
yes,
say
please
goodbye.
do.
Because I
And
don't
check
have
out her
human
website.
children. I have furry children in my books, and my books are my babies and my animals.
And
So yeah,
rightly
please check out my
so.
website.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you so much for
yeah.
Thank you,
coming
guys.
and
Thank
joining us
you. Thank you for having me.
today. We really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to get my
Yeah, yeah,
hands on
yeah.
those
So
decks.
much.
I'm the cartomancer over here. I love my cards. So thank you.
Oh, goody. Yeah, the cards are
Enjoy.
fun. Let me show you
Yes.
something really quickly.
Ooh,
I'll just
Okay.
throw to this
yes.
quickly. But these cards, that look, they're so
I love the
beautiful.
embossing. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
And
absolutely
and the
gorgeous.
artwork is really, really special and a little bit different.
Wow.
I love
Yes.
working with young artists from other backgrounds, and kind of giving them their art a break. So Mariam, who
Beautiful.
designed these, we collaborated on the images. She's a Spanish artist, a young girl that designs video games too. So everyone that
Mhm.
I've worked with has, well,
Beautiful.
actually, Veronica, who did Lost Oracle, Dark Solace, she had a very established career as an artist. But when I think
Mm.
back to Marcella Bolivar, who did my first Oracle Magic of You, it was,
Mhm.
her work got out there so much from being in the Oracle deck that she's now living. She was from Bolivia in
Yeah.
South America.
Nice.
She's now living in Germany and designing young adult fiction covers for HarperCollins.
Nice.
So
Very
I
That
nice.
is
love kind of
fab.
being able to work with young artists and help give them a
Love.
break.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, the
Share the
cards,
love.
she's done an
Share the
incredible
love of
job. That's my
everything. That's
favorite
awesome.
one. Wild Within.
How
Isn't that stunning?
gorgeous is
Nice.
that?
Yeah. So that's the cards. So yeah. And they're
Love
designed to
that,
be read
Gary.
in groups. So the meanings of the cards, and there's a book with them, but the way they work is that you use them for group readings. So whether your group is your
Mm,
coven or your
yes.
workmates or your family or your friends, it's like group readings. They can be used
Yes.
individually, but also full
It's
messages for the
unique.
group.
You've made
So
it
yeah,
very
it's a little bit
unique.
different. Yeah, it felt
Yeah.
appropriate to create it in that
Love.
way.
Nice.
Love that.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
and thank you so much, Fiona.
Thank
Really
Thank you so much,
appreciate it.
you.
Star. Thank you, Rhonda. Love you guys. See
Love
you next
Yeah, love
you.
time.
you too.
See you next time. And
See ya. Blessed
now,
be.
blessed be. And now, just a peek at some of our other shows here on Magical Witchy World TV.
All right. That was so wonderful having
It's
Fiona.
so
Awesome.
good.
Okay. So on with the horoscope part, and we began last week with doing the tarot forecast for all of the 12 signs plus design tips to attract good luck for this month. So that we continue now with Cancer. Okay. So the tarot card for Cancer is the Four of Cups. Where are my Four of Cups?
Oh, let me get my Four of Cups out.
Okay, here we go. The Four of Cups. And we switched around. So let me see if I can make sure I'm doing this right. So I'm going to switch sides of where I am so I can make sure everybody can see it. The Four of Cups. And you may feel a little disconnected this month, Cancer, as though something is missing, even in moments that should bring contentment. And the Four of Cups kind of reminds you that emotional fatigue often masks quiet transformation. So when life feels dull, it's usually a signal to pause and look inward rather than outward. And you don't need to chase excitement. You don't need to, you need to reconnect with gratitude and authenticity. Opportunities, whether emotional or professional, are hovering nearby, but they'll only come into focus when you lift your gaze from what's been draining you. This is a month for gentle re engagement. Say yes to small invitations and try something new or simply shift your routine. The clarity you're waiting for won't arrive through overthinking. It appears the moment you open your heart again, okay? And by the end of March, inspiration returns quietly but surely, reminding you that renewal begins with awareness, okay? And the design tips for Cancer this month: the Four of Cups calls for subtle refresh, not full reinvention spaces that rekindle interest and emotional presence. And for Cancer, whose environment reflects mood deeply, focus on reawakening comfort through minor, meaningful changes. Introduce a gentle splash of color. Think of moss green, blush, or muted leaf, or muted teal, sorry, to lift a stagnant of energy. Rearrange existing furniture to shift perspective or swap out a few decorative pieces to make familiar rooms feel new again. Okay. Natural light is essential. Pull back curtains fully and use mirrors to amplify brightness. And a tactile warmth through Add a tactile warmth through knitted throws or scented candles that awaken the senses. And consider creating one renewed feel good spot by a window, near plants, or where sunlight naturally lands. This is your gentle invitation to re engage. And this month, I want you to treat your home like your emotions. No dramatic changes, just small, loving adjustments that remind you how good it feels to feel again, to simply feel again. Okay? All
Right
right.
on. Excellent. So now on to Leo. And Leo, tarot prediction card for Leo for March is the Three of Swords. Three of
Yay.
Swords. This is a healing month, Leo. The Three of Swords reflects emotional honesty. The moment pain clears just enough for truth to filter through. You may be processing disappointment or releasing something that no longer aligns with how you've grown. It's not an easy energy, but it's purposeful. Clarity always follows heartbreak. The key now is to not rush back into distraction, but to sit with your feelings long enough to hear what they're teaching you. Allow gentleness to replace pride. Vulnerability can be your greatest strength. This card asks you to forgive, whether it's yourself, others, or even the circumstance itself, so that space opens for renewal. By the end of March, what first felt like loss transforms into understanding, and you reclaim your optimism not as armor, but as light earned through experience. And your design tip for Leo for this month: healing energy thrives in six spaces that feel calm, rather, in spaces that feel calm, nurturing, and safe. So healing energy thrives in those spaces calm that feel calm, nurturing, and safe. For Leo, whose environment often mirrors their heart, the goal is restoration through softness. Choose textures that comfort, like linen and velvet, that those things come to mind, and colors that soothe rather than dramatize. Warm whites or muted coral or even dusty lilacs. Remove clutter or objects tied to the past if they stir discomfort. This month is for emotional decluttering as much as the physical. Lighting should feel gentle. Soft lamps and candles, or maybe even a natural glow instead of harsh overhead light. Incorporate symbols of release and renewal. Add fresh flowers or a small mirror placed to reflect sunlight. Keep one area, perhaps near a window or cozy corner, where you can pause and breathe, your personal sanctuary for processing and letting go. Healing doesn't rush, but your space can help remind you that even tenderness is a powerful kind of strength. All right, Leo.
All right. So Virgo. All right. The Knight of Pentacles. Okay. The Knight of Pentacles. So you're moving steadily toward lasting success, Virgo. So step by deliberate step. Okay. The Knight of Pentacles reminds you that consistency, not speed, definitely progress for you. And this month, your focus, patience, and work ethic pays off for you, even if rewards come quietly. The universe isn't asking for drama or range, just presence and persistence. And what you build now carries longevity, especially if you stay true to your values and keep intentions clear. There may be moments where your pace feels slow compared to others, but resist comparison. Your methodical approach ensures foundations that won't crumble later. It will be stabilized. You're learning that excellence is repetition refined by care. If doubts creep in, trust the process rather than chasing shortcuts. The Knight of Pentacles urges faith in daily discipline, the pleasure of doing something well, and the satisfaction of watching effort bloom in its own time. Soon others notice your unwavering steadiness and follow your lead. All right. And your design tips for you, the Knight of Pentacles brings practicality and quiet mastery into your home. And for you, this means design that feels purposeful, grounded, and refined through subtle detail. Choose natural, enduring materials like oak and linen that get more beautiful with use. A palette of olive, warm beige, and charcoal complements focus and calm. And keep layouts orderly yet comfortable. Organization is your love language, but let warmth soften that precision, okay? Add solid, hardworking pieces. Think a timeless desk or sturdy shelving. Remind us that quality outlasts trend. Incorporate greenery for balance. Live plants keep energy fresh and grounded. Lighting should support long evenings of focus, task lamps for precision, and a soft ambient glow for relaxation. Avoid decor that distracts. Instead, celebrate craftsmanship. And this month, your space should reflect your work ethic and quiet strength, a sanctuary built not for show, but for substance and durability. That's awesome.
Excellent. Now, Libra. Here we go. Tarot prediction card for Libra in March 2026 is the Sun. Fabulous. You're stepping into brightness, Libra. This month reminds you how good that life feels when you're aligned with joy and authenticity. The sun brings success, confidence, and optimism after a period of quiet growth. You may feel seen, understood, or suddenly re energized about a project or relationship that had lost momentum. This card encourages you to express your full self without apology. Your natural charm and creativity attract good fortune now. The only caution is not to doubt your own warmth. Don't dim your light to make others comfortable. Embrace visibility, celebrate milestones, and lead through kindness. The sun heals self doubt by replacing it with genuine pride. Soon your energy feels renewed, your relationships glow with mutual care, and your purpose returns with radiant clarity. You're not chasing happiness, you are it this month. The design tips for Libra for March. The sun calls for a home filled with vitality and openness, spaces that celebrate light, life, and confidence. For Libra, balance warmth with elegance, creamy whites, buttermilk yellow, and soft gold paired with pale oak or rattan create an uplifting yet refined mood. Invite as much natural light as possible, so keep windows clear, mirrors angled to reflect brightness, and curtains airy. Symbolic touches elevate the theme. Sunflower arrangements, circular mirrors, solar motifs, or art that radiates optimism. Choose pieces that make you smile every day. Colorful ceramics and bold artwork, perhaps in some very cheerful hues. Keep the layout fluid. Areas that flow easily between social and restful zones honor both joy and balance. Add one indulgent statement. This could be a sculptural lamp or oversized plant as your sun within the space. The atmosphere should feel alive, harmonious, and effortlessly radiant, a reflection of your inner glow shining at full strength.
That's
So, of course,
beautiful.
yeah, that's excellent. Love, hey, that's all right. That energy is positive. It's the sun. It's the sun. But of course,
Yeah. Right.
now we have to pull cards.
Yay. All right, Rhonda. What do you think? What are
So,
we putting a card on tonight?
all kinds of things are going on, but it's still
Yeah.
Friday the 13th. And for the next 10 minutes, because we did run late tonight, it's Friday the 13th for the next 10 minutes. So let's just have
Yes.
some
Okay,
fun
let's do
tonight.
this.
Let's have some fun and let's pull a card just asking, so what is the thing that's kind of quirky and spooky that you need to focus on in this period? What's that quirky energy happening right now? What's that quirky vibe that you're feeling? Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I'll pull a card on that quirkiness. It's Friday the 13th. Let's just keep it a little light and airy and fun. What's the quirky vibe to focus on right now? And I am pulling out, I'm working with my Thoth deck. So I
Okay.
don't
So
know
what do
about
you
how
got for you
quirky
tonight?
that can be. How quirky is the Thoth deck? What did I get? Lordy, I got the Three of Swords. Didn't we just talk about the Three of Swords?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you a Leo? Are you a Leo?
Yeah,
No, you're Aries.
I'm Aries, but we
You're
did get it
Aries, but
tonight
we
for
just
one of the
for
I think it
Leo.
was I
What's
think it
that?
was Virgo, was it?
Well, we're gonna
I
look back
can't
at it. I thought it
remember.
was Leo, but
Yeah.
anyway, the quirkiness. It's so funny because I'm asking for quirky. What the Friday the 13th is that energy, and the Three of Swords for me just reminds me. I like the Three of Swords as a card. I know a lot of people do not. I like it because for me, it's about embodying the idea. I'm bringing the information and the knowledge and the wisdom into my physical self. That's part of how I read that energy. And when I
Right.
look at this card, I just remind myself, you know what? Quirky, I need to recognize that I don't have to be my ability to understand and embrace and deal with disappointment or sadness or heartache doesn't always have to be the cleanest, purest way of dealing with it. I can
Right.
take it a little less heavy and say to myself, when I'm dealing with things that can be disappointing, similar
Right.
to conversation we had earlier today, let's look at what the positive is out of it. Just
Right.
make it a little less, try to take the light-hearted way of dealing with the situation.
Right. Right.
Lighten it up a little bit.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
Yep.
All right. So I'm always working with the same deck because I just love my deck. Okay.
Yeah.
And and that is the Witch's Tarot.
Yes.
Yeah, by Eden McCoy, I believe. It's Eden. Okay. Ellen Dugan. Sorry.
Ellen Dugan.
Yes. 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 My apologies, Ellen. Okay. Okay. So I have the five of Pentacles.
Oh, look at
And I know, right? It's always similar to some sort of a pentacle, and Five
it.
of Pentacles just kind of made me realize certain things, and it's
Mhm.
interesting. Five of Pentacles is a good thing in a sense, but it's also showing what reality is that um, your finances are going to be not scattered but intermittent, and so you have to squirrel away certain things and learn to be more frugal a bit. Um, and sparse it out because it's coming in, but it's not the greenery, it's the snow, and that means you have to let it be let it go through that scarcity that it is. Let it go through that meagerness. I think of the word meagerness and all the, it's coming in, but it's coming in and not in the way it normally does. So you have to be frugal about it. And it's so funny because a lot of the things I'm seeing is similar to that. So it's kind of reminding you to learn how to pick and choose what you're going to buy or how
Right.
you're going to live in this time that it is right now in our reality, because the expenses have gotten higher. No matter what we say, it's ridiculous right now for certain things. So yeah,
Yes.
kind of work within your within your budget, within your what your means are.
Yes,
Don't
within your
don't
means, for sure.
don't live above your means, and I'm not that person.
Right on. But you know what's interesting is, Star, we both had what we might consider quote unquote challenge cards. The Three of Swords is often considered a challenge card. The
Yeah,
Five of Pentacles, it's a five. They're considered
yeah,
challenge cards.
yeah.
And the
It's
question was, how do we allow what's the quirkiness that we need to do? And it seems like the both of us, the message is really about how do we lighten up when things are challenging?
que sera, será.
Right.
My whole thing is, right, it is what it is. You deal with it
It
as it
is.
comes, and you better flow with it, because if you do
That's right.
anything else otherwise, you're going to be fighting uphill, and we can't
Yep.
do that right now.
Nope.
Reality is what it is. There's
That's
not
it.
much you can do about it.
That's it. It'll
You
all
know?
work out. That's one thing my dad, who is
Yeah,
now
yeah,
95 right now, he's always saying, he says, Rhonda, it'll all work out.
yeah,
And
yeah,
he's just
yeah,
convinced of it. And I'm like, yeah, well, you've been around long enough to know that it will all work out. So
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to trust him.
Even our guest Fiona was saying similar.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, you just have to deal with the punches as it comes and kind
That's
of
right.
make it flow for yourself, so that it is what it is going to be.
That's it. Even
All
on
right.
the Friday the 13th, where everybody thinks,
Yeah,
oh,
right. I know.
and just go with
Embrace it. Embrace it.
Right, exactly. Fabulousness.
Okay. Our next guest will be next week, March 20th, is Tom Sieber. And we want to thank Rhonda, and I would love to thank so much for all of you in the chat that's there, for
Yes.
your messages that you've put out, and thanking us for bringing wonderful guests. We appreciate that you realize the work that we try to put into all of this for you guys, whether it's now in the chat or in the playback. We appreciate all of you. So thank you for being here. And we want to thank Fiona Horne, our guest, for being with us here tonight. It was such a wonderful conversation that we had with her. So it was a pleasure. And Rhonda, what else, hon?
Yes. Thank you all for being here. Please do like, subscribe, share. You know the usual. So we appreciate you all. If you have comments, and we do thank you for being in the chat. Thank you for contributing your voice and your feedback. We do read. We really do try to stay up with it. And thank you. If you have recommendations or suggestions, add them in. We'll be doing panels soon. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, everyone. And we will
Thank
see
you.
you next Friday.
Yes. Oh, and don't forget, next week is New Moon. I think it's on the 18th. So that's a Wednesday, right? I think.
New Moon in Pisces. Yes, it's
New Moon in Pisces will be the 18th.
Tuesday. I don't know.
So have a wonderful week this week
Yes.
with the new moon and everything else. And we will see you on Friday.
We will
All
see
right?
you on Friday. Thank you, Fiona. We love you too. She just popped it in the chat.
Oh, she did. Thank you,
Yes.
Fiona. Again.
Have a wonderful week, everyone.
Take care.